Hi, I'm Vanessa Vicaria, aka The Math Guru, and you're listening to Math Therapy, a podcast that helps guests work through their math traumas one problem at a time. Whether you think you're a math person or not, you're about to find out that math people don't actually exist. But the scars that math class left on many of us definitely do. And don't worry, no calculators or actual math were involved in the making of this podcast. Hey guys, what's up? And welcome to this week's episode of Math Therapy. Okay, so today I talked to the amazing Bruce Sellery, who is the author of 2 best-selling books, including my fave, Moolah La, Why Smart People Do Dumb Things With Their Money and What You Can Do About It. He's also the national money columnist for CBC Radio and the host of the weekly Moolah La radio show and podcast on Sirius XM, which actually I was a guest on, and that's how we met in the first place. Bruce is on a mission to help people get a handle on their money so they can live the life they want, which is like the coolest thing ever. He speaks, he writes, he consults, and he uses every media format to engage audiences in a smart, fun, high-energy way. I'm just so excited for you guys to hear this episode because seriously, Bruce is hilarious. And not only does he share some groundbreaking insight on math and money, but just as importantly, he teaches us the ultimate strategy to use when eating at a buffet, which, let's be honest, is definitely vital info. Let's do this. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So, as you know, this is a podcast called Math Therapy.
Yes.
And we are in the process of just figuring out what that means.
And you're going to resolve any issues that I have.
All of them.
From Miss Thompson's grade 4 multiplication tables that she made us do by rote.
Okay, let's start with that.
No, I quite like that.
I actually loved
as
it.
a parent, I sort of think, where are the multiplication tables? Because it's nostalgia for me. And my daughter doesn't do them.
So I always wonder, because obviously we tutor a ton of kids math.
Yeah.
And the main thing is people are like, oh my God, rote math, where is it? Blah, 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 blah. But when I talk to math teachers, they're all like, no, we teach the times tables.
Yeah. They do it in a grid versus with circles, which is just, I don't even know what's happened.
Right.
It's like our values have disappeared or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I remember doing like speed times trials with the times tables.
Uh-huh.
Did it cause me panic and stress? Yes. Did I not like it? No. It was a rush of adrenaline, like before, in track and field and before a race. So I actually I have wondered this for a while, but it's kind of like, do you say this out loud? Well, I guess I'm going to. But like that idea of feeling stressed out before doing a time trial, is that a bad thing?
No.
Right?
No, it's not a bad thing.
That's the thing.
I don't think it's a bad thing. It's like the stress. So I do a lot of speaking. A lot of people get really worried about speaking, and they interpret the physiological response of that stress as being bad.
Right.
It's not bad.
Right.
It's just your body doing whatever it's doing, and your heart rate's pumping, and you're sweating, and it's like that is just what's happening.
Yeah.
You're not gonna die. It's your primate brain. It's all fine. Move through it. Move on.
Well, and that's really interesting because when we're talking to kids about like this idea of being stressed around math, obviously we see a lot of kids with diagnosed math anxiety or generalized anxiety. So one of the biggest things, and I do a lot of speaking to 2 kids about anxiety and 2 parents about it. And so obviously a kind of a tricky topic, but there's sort of a difference between having actual diagnosed anxiety and being stressed out. And I did do a lot of reading about it, and I found, and it's interesting because you're a marathon runner.
Yes.
Right? You're an athlete. So part of what athletes use is the feeling that anxiety produces, so the adrenaline rushing through their bodies. They actually utilize that in order to like run faster and to this and that and whatever.
Yeah.
So I always wonder, like, shouldn't we be talking about how to use stress?
Yes.
Right? In order to do better, instead of this idea of blanking out. What if you used it to fuel the process?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
Okay, great. So we've agreed. So let's move on.
Done.
Okay, so let's go. So your thing is money.
Yes.
So I find this interesting for 2 reasons. Number one of the biggest things we hear over here at the Math Guru about why kids don't like math is that it's not relevant, right? And most people are like, why aren't we talking about money? That's actually like what we hear all the time. So this is interesting because A, you are like kind of the practical, avenue of where math is used.
Yeah.
But B, you're talking to adults most of the time.
Yeah.
So I'm actually interested in how math plays out. Like, what kind of reactions you get, like how you treat math when you're talking about money. Like, give me kind of like the vibe.
Well, the thing about personal finance is the math that it's based on is so incredibly simple.
Right.
It is
like
adding and subtracting.
Okay.
So what's the number one principle of money? You need to earn more than you spend.
Right.
That a grade 4 student can do your budget. They can add up the columns.
Sure.
They can see, oh, you've got this amount coming in and I subtracted all of your expenses and it's a negative number now. This isn't good. You can't sustain that. So this is not derivatives. This is not advanced calculus. This is very, very basic stuff. And so I think the pitfall for a lot of people is they get stuck in this, I'm not good at math, and they extrapolate that to personal finance to think, well, I can never handle my money.
Right.
When I would say, did you pass grade 4 math? Because if you did, you're good. You are good to go.
Right.
And I think what one of the things that people do is we are excuse addicts. We are always looking for an excuse or a justification or a rationalization for not having the result that we want. And so some people trot out the I'm not good at math. Some people trot out I don't have enough willpower. Some people trot out life is expensive. Like they trot out whatever they trot out. And I don't buy any of it. Like you need to get a handle on your money so you can live the life you want. And there are lots of things you need to do, but I don't buy any of the excuses. It's not to say that I don't have compassion for the excuses or an understanding of the circumstances. I have all that.
Yeah.
I just don't buy it because I believe that people are actually capable of getting a handle on their money.
And like basically every excuse you just gave me is surmountable.
All of them are surmountable.
Like none of those things are like absolute.
Yeah, and then when you think about the ones that are insurmountable, you can still see people who get over those ones.
Like what's one?
Someone who goes through a devastating divorce, followed by a cancer diagnosis, followed by the death of a pet and a parent in long-term care.
Oh my God.
And somehow they remain vertical.
Right.
And 5 years later, they manage to get rid of their credit card debt and return to work and they live. And we think, oh, boo-hoo, I can't, afford to X, Y, and Z.
So, like, why do you put it this way, actually? This sounds so, like, passionate. Like, you could,
I am very passionate about it.
Right, because, like, this person you just described, like, how exciting would it be for them to get back on their feet and get rid of that credit card? So, what made you start all this?
So I have been, I've been thinking about money since I was a very young person. So when I was in grade 8, my brother sold me his year-round property maintenance business. So this is lawns lawns in the summer, snow in the winter, but it was a thing. So the snow
Did you not grow up in Toronto?
No. London, Ontario. The snow was snow insurance, so all the customers paid one amount. The lawns were on contract. He created this business when he was 13. He sold it to me when he was 18, I know. And he sold it to me for 50% of year one revenues and book value on equipment. It was both the best thing I ever did and the worst thing I ever did because I've never worked harder. And within weeks of starting this business, I'd ruined my first lawnmower and it was a disaster. But I always had this business and so I made money. I always had money, but I was very judicious about how I spent it. So by the time I was in summer of grade 11, grade 12, I went to French immersion for the summer and someone else ran the business. I was a camp counselor and someone else ran the business. I sold the business and went traveling to Europe for 6 months. So I've always lived at that intersection of work and play. And that's really what I bring to people. Like some people who don't actually know what I do think that I'm frugal. They think that I'm anal. They think that I'm all about the money, and I'm not. I'm all about how do we inspire people to get a handle on their money so that they can live the life they want. That's the purpose. So
I love it. You're not just accumulating coins.
No, and my work is resonant for people with $50 million, and it's resonant for people on social assistance because it's the same game. It's different amounts and different priorities and different challenges, but it's the same game. There are lots of people at the high end of the income level who are terrible with their money and who have a real stress about how are they going to pay their bills. And it's sure they make $500,000 a year, but they've got 3 kids in private school and summer camps and a boat and a ski place and a summer place. And, they're headed to Africa on safari and they aren't managing their money, even though to someone who makes $40,000 a year, they think they've got all the money in the world.
Right. So you obviously do all this stuff, you're on the radio, you're on TV, blah, blah, blah. But when you're I know you interview a wide range of people.
Yeah.
I know you, as you said, you deal with a wide range of people. So what do you find the roadblock is when it comes to, like, what? So you gave us the excuses. Let's go to the, like, I'm not good at math excuse.
Yeah.
Okay, for a sec, just because, we're talking about math. So what do you find comes up? Like, what do these people state any reasons why they're not good at math or why they can't do this grade 4 math?
No, they don't to me. And the reason is I don't particularly care.
Right.
Because I think that's intellectual candy floss. It's like, ooh, let's go to therapy to think about why am I not going to math?
So like where we
Miss
are right
Thompson
now.
Wasn't. Well, sure, let's have a therapy session. But like talking about the thing, it's not what I trade in. So I get it. You're not good at math. Awesome. So here's what I want you to do. Mm-hmm. I want you to do these 4 things. So I'm not denying that you have that issue with math. And if you want to go talk to a therapist about that or go to a tutor and talk about that, that's fantastic. But you don't need to be good at math to do what I need you to do to get a handle on your money so you can live the life you want. So I don't trade in that.
Do you find, this is just now a personal musing because I have like this whole theory. Do you find that the people whose excuse is I'm not good at math?
Yeah.
Right? Do you find that translates like into confidence more than the people who are like, give you another range of excuse?
I don't know the answer to that question. Okay. But here's what I would say. So if someone has whatever excuse they have about money, I stop and I ask them this question. What is your money for? It's where everything begins for me. And they'll be like, well, this is where my rent and my mortgage again. All that. Okay, I get all that. What is it? What's the purpose of it? Mm-hmm. So money is this amazing tool, and we've got tools all over our house. We've got screwdrivers and power drills and Vitamixes and NutriBullets and paring knives. We've got all these great tools, and we can use them. There's a utility to each of these tools. Money's a tool. It's all it is. You can make up that you're better than someone or worse than someone because of the amount in your bank account. I don't buy any of that. I think of money as a tool. So if you've got this tool, what are you going to use it for? And where you start to have people answer are things like family. My money's for family. My money's for experiences. My money's for contribution. My money's for legacy. My money's for fun. My money's for whatever it is. And when you get them there, then first of all, you start to see the sparkle in their eyes because they're talking about something that's like, oh, I'm so excited about this thing. And then I can enable them to do better with the tool to get more fun, adventure, experiences, family, whatever it is. Right. So I want to shift the entire conversation. It's not that the math isn't important. It's just basic. Yeah. But let's get to experiences. And then it's an insight with an early participant in one of my workshops. And she was like, okay, let me get this straight. Are you telling me, honestly, if I do these 3 things, I'm going to get to travel more? And I paused for like a good 10 seconds. And then I said, yes, that is what I am telling you. If you do these 3 things, you are going to travel more. And she was like, okay, all right, I'll do those 3 things. Because there's so much jargon, there's so much marketing, there's so much crap out there that we've lost the simplicity of it. And so it is so simple. We talked about, so I run marathons, I have in the past, I'm going to run one in the future. And one of the huge insights for me on this path was one of my coaches back in the beginning said, you want to run a marathon, it's 3 things. What do you mean it's 3 things? No. I need a sports therapist. I need a physical therapist on set. I need shoes from Nike's R&D department. It's like, no. You need good shoes and maybe orthotics. You need to run 3 times a week.
That's it?
Yeah.
3 times a week.
3 times a week. And there was some other super simple thing. It's like, you do that, you run a marathon. Yeah, you run a marathon. And that's the truth. Now, the thing that's, of course, in that is it's actually quite hard. Like, the doing is difficult, but the what to do is not difficult. And it's the same with money. What to do to get a handle on your money, not difficult. Doing it's difficult.
Right, like not spending the thing when you want to buy the coffee or whatever.
Yeah, that's difficult.
And it is the same with math, actually. If you really think about it, it's like what you need to do, it's quite obvious. Like, practice problems, check the answers, go over them when you get them wrong. But yes, actually sitting down to do it can be difficult. Yeah. So that actually is quite similar. Yeah.
And there are people who don't want to do the work.
Yeah.
I get it. That's fine. There are lots and lots of things I don't want to do. Lots of things to do. It's just it's not a very helpful question. So the question, do you want to do the math homework? Do you want to do the work to get a handle on your money? I would answer no. I don't want to do that.
No, but do you want the end result?
Do you want the end result? What are you committed to? What's your money for?
Yeah.
So what's my money for is adventure, travel, experiences. And here's what it's going to take. It's going to take these things. I want to get a great mark in math because I want to go to architecture school, or I want to, like, I don't know what people would say when they come in here.
Maybe that is the thing, though, because actually, as you're saying this, I'm thinking with money, it always seems like this whole big, like, I honestly think we're in this place where it's just the whole notion is just to get more money, and no one knows why.
Yeah.
And so if that was the case, A, you wouldn't be very motivated, and B, that would seem like an insurmountable task, because what does more money mean?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're saying you want to go on this specific trip, like all of a sudden things become more manageable.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the same thing I think is happening with math in a sense, or has always, because what's the number one question? Why do I need this? Why do I need to do well in it? Right. So the only real motivation for a teenager now is, well, I need this grade to get into architecture school. Right. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But for all the other kids who don't know, you're not in grade 8 thinking, well, maybe you are, but like thinking, you want to get into like business school or this and that. So the motivation is completely gone.
Yeah.
Right. So unless there is some other intrinsic motivation that we can give someone as to why you should do well or put in the time to understand this thing that might be hard for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're falling apart, because really, right, like I mean, that's my personal belief, is that whenever kids are like, but why? My answer isn't like, well, you might need this as, when you're walking down the street, you might need to calculate blah, blah, blah. My answer is because you'll be a cooler person if you know more stuff, or if you learn to think in different ways.
Yeah. And I think what we can do, me and money and you and math, can provide people with this extraordinary all-you-can-eat buffet of reasons of why you want to get a handle on your money or why you want to get better at math.
Right.
Because what resonates for person A doesn't resonate for person B. So we'll give them the buffet, and then they'll walk along the buffet, and they're like, shellfish, I love shellfish, and oh, look at these baked goods. And now, when you shop a buffet, I don't know if you know this, always eat the most expensive items. So no carbs.
Why?
Because you want to get value from the buffet.
Okay,
right?
but
always the most expensive. Fresh fruit, but no pasta. Limited bread, only if it's amazing bread. Right. So I want you to go to the prime rib, maybe the Yorkshire pudding, because it's kind of like an 80s throwback, a treat. But you need to shop the buffet as well if you're going to go to a buffet meal.
I have not been to a buffet in like forever.
I know. I don't. You don't go to them as much as we used to do.
A breakfast buffet.
Well,
when I went to tour with my band, for sure.
Shop the breakfast buffet very, very well. So here's what I would say on the math question of why math. And I never thought about this as a young person, but you're building. What is a youth, a child, a youth, a young adult building? They're building scaffolding.
Right.
So what is the scaffolding that is going to hold up this building called their life? And there is a huge importance to learning how to think. And math is important. Storytelling in English is important. Law is important. There are lots of different ways that you can build the scaffolding, but math is one of them.
I love it. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So now you have a daughter, right?
I do.
And what grade?
Her name's Abby. She's 9.5. She just got her hair cut. It's a cutout
on
one side.
Oh my God, what?
No, it's a cutout on one side, and then kind of like she did an undercut here too. Okay. It looks amazing. I'll show you a picture later.
So you mean like a fade on one side, not like a cutout shape?
Not a shape. I'll show you the picture later.
I've always wanted that, like the Skrillex look, like one side of shape.
I don't know. She knew what she wanted, and she got it, and it looks amazing.
Oh my God, she sounds so cool. I want to be your friend.
She's very cool.
Okay, so what is the vibe with her? Like, does she ever come across the like, I don't want to do math, I'm not going to do math? Okay.
Oh yeah, we had her in a particular math program which required by rote learning, and she hated it, and it became such a source of conflict we stopped doing it.
Why did you put her in it?
Because of my family culture around the importance of math and starting early. And I have a sister who's an educator. Her kids all went through that program, and it made a big difference for them, and it's just not a fit for her. It's not a fit for Abby.
I think I might have gone through that program.
Yeah, you might have gone through that program.
But I think it did make me better at mental math.
Yeah,
I'm really good at it.
And I think the other thing about any of those programs is one of the things that you're also teaching is self-regulation and discipline.
Right.
And getting used to doing things you don't want to do, because that's life.
Right.
And as a parent, that is one of the very hard lessons. And it's extraordinarily hard when you have an only child and you are a middle or upper income family, because there is no actual scarcity. So I'm not talking about someone who lives on social assistance,
right, okay.
but for people who have jobs, really, 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 there's food on the table and there's a roof over your head. So there's no actual scarcity. You may think there's scarcity because you've got, credit card debt and whatever, but if you don't have 10 kids, there's no actual scarcity. You're going to be able to go get pasta at No Frills and have something to eat. So how, as parents, do we create artificial scarcity so that we can teach our children to learn to live in a world of fixed resources or scarce resources?
This is fascinating.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Oh my goodness. Well, she's on allowance.
Okay, yeah.
So allowance is a very important thing for me, given what I do with money. And there's no more. So when she wants to go shopping for a book or a stuffy or, beauty products or whatever she wants, it's her money and there's no more. So my wallet is closed. And what's fantastic about that is she has developed an ability to be judicious about it. Now, one of the higher level things we've instituted on her allowance is investing, because we're trying to teach the magic of compound interest.
This is very exciting. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So she gets the 4 jars, which most people do. But the 4th jar, that's the innovation, so she gets $4 a week in saving, spending, donating, and investing. But with donating, in the beginning, she gets a nickel. She gets an extra nickel. She gets $1 plus a nickel for the first month. Then it's a dime, then it's 25 cents, then it's 50 cents, then it's 75 cents, and it tops out at 75 cents. So that's over 6 months. If she hasn't spent any of her investing money, she's getting $1.75 every single week, and she hoards that like, it's the last jar of money on earth. And then eventually she'll spend it and she'll buy something, and sometimes it's ridiculous, and I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe you bought that. But it's her choice. I have no say, provided it's, within the realms of what we value as a family, because she can spend it on. She can spend it on a jewel. She could buy a jewel.
No.
So what do you mean a jewel? Like a jewelry? What's a jewel? Is that a drug? Oh my God.
A vape.
Oh, she cannot buy a vape, and she will never be a I'm changing the locks if she does that. Yeah, the indoctrination on all that stuff began when she was born. Yeah. Yeah.
She can buy a jewel. What is that? A piece of
jewel? Like, is that like an emerald or a ruby? No, she may not buy vapor. No.
Oh
yes.
my God. Okay, that was great. Sorry.
So that's allowance. So allowance is one way. Another way that I'm kind of segueing to a question you didn't ask, but that I like, is how do we live and breathe math? Mm-hmm. When we go to the grocery store, we give her, okay, but you choose the snacks, so you're choosing the crackers, or you're choosing the treats or whatever. And so she'll be walking around either with me, or I let her wander around the store on her own. But every time she brings something back to the cart, I will ask her, how much does that cost? So she now knows to pay attention to what it costs, because I'm sending her back to tell me how much it costs.
Right.
And when we're at the shelf together, she likes those little flavor squirts that you put in carbonated water.
Oh yeah, I love those.
Yeah,
I love
fantastic,
those.
delicious.
Yeah,
I love a good aspartame,
like the Crystal Light
coursing through my.
Yeah, me too.
So I see that one. That's $3.79. Interesting. Now that one is 2 for $7. What do you think about that? That one's 2 for $5. Which should we buy? What do you think? And sometimes she'll spend 10 minutes at the shelf, looking at the flavors and looking at the deals, and she's obviously doing mental math there to say, let's get the 2 for $5 one. And then we get 2, because I'm not buying 2 at $3.79. Right. I will buy 2 at $2.50, which equals $5. So there's that kind of.
And does she get annoyed? Do you guys ever fight about this?
We don't fight about it, but it's very clear. It's my rules. So. So I just, if we fight about it, we're just not buying the squirty stuff for the drinks. Like, we're leaving the store right now. And put those goldfish down, because they're not coming either. I am a very fun and super annoying parent.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like, those two things, super fun, super annoying.
But that's a great mix.
I don't know. I don't know any other way to be.
Yeah, I think it's good.
I
mean, super fun without being super annoying. That's too much. Your kid's buying a Juul at that point,
they're
for
not.
sure.
I don't even know what that is, but they're not.
Super annoying without being super fun. Well, that sucks.
Yeah.
You're not going to be any good memories.
Yeah.
I think it's a good combo. You know what? That's a comedian combo. You know, they're super fun, but they're kind of annoying, but that makes the jokes kind of good when they're good. And then, I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so thinking back to your childhood, because you obviously are you said you've always been into money. Yeah. Did that translate when you were a kid to being really into math? And did you ever struggle with math? Like, did you have any emotional response to math?
No, I didn't. I would say I was fine at math, but on reflection, I would have been in the top 10% of the class in math, in only that's how the marks worked. But I was never held out as the math star. I wasn't in the math club. I don't know. I think a part of it is family expectations. My parents expected that we would do well in school, but it wasn't like it was a big topic. I never remember them talking about my report card. I never remember a parent-teacher interview. I'm the youngest of 5, so I often say my parents didn't even know if I was home half the time, because there's just so many kids around. I don't know where he is. Right. So I always felt loved and adored and supported, but there wasn't a lot of focus that I remember on my academics at all. So I think where I had a really hard time was in grade 10 calculus, because
Why were you in calculus in grade 10?
Was it not in grade 10?
No.
Was it grade 12?
Yes.
I don't know. I was doing calculus.
I'm like, because that would have been the problem.
Maybe it was grade 12.
It was.
But I remember very clearly, it was the first time I just didn't get it.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't get it.
First time in grade 12.
Impenetrable.
Okay.
It was impenetrable to me. And I remember being in class, and Mr. Brown was my teacher, and he walked over, you know that, like, when the skies part moment, and he, pointed at the piece of paper, and he's like, and the skies cleared, and all of a sudden the numbers came into focus. I began to weep. Zamfir started to play, and I could do it for the first time. And I felt like, oh my God, okay, the skies have cleared, but it may only last for another 5 minutes, so do as much work as you can before it is done. And then I got, in the 90s on math, and got into Queen's Commerce, and did fine in math. But then in university, I was with a bunch of people who were extraordinary in math.
Right.
They were all the top 10% in math, or they weren't there. So I was not, that was not a strength relative to my...
Did you care?
Not particularly. I cared deeply about marks. Deeply about marks.
Okay.
But I didn't care about math. One of my pivotal educational moments was a fight that I had with my, back then, grade 13, I guess, or OAC functions teacher, who assigned this project. I did what I thought was an outstanding job. It included an audio soundtrack to this project about the Sydney Opera House, and she gave me 63%
oh my God.
on a university credit, and I got the mark. I stood up, walked to the front of the room, and said, "How dare you?"
Did you say that?
And then I left the room and slammed the door and drove into the countryside and wept in my car. Is what I did. I totally did this. And then I went back a couple days later and said, I would like to talk about negotiating this mark. And she would not budge.
What was her reason?
She would not budge. I didn't deliver on the assignment. And she's right.
Oh, okay.
She's right. So the lesson I took from that, it was years before I was able to distill the lesson, because I was still angry. If I were to see her in public, I'd still be angry. But what I would say to her is the lesson she taught me was read the instructions. Read the instructions.
Big fucking lesson.
Read the instructions and do what is asked. And I thought, and to some extent still think, that my charm and charisma will get me around the rules. And they often do. Like right. I do, because I find it easy to talk to people. I often get things because I can kind of charm my way into them.
That's how you got into this podcast.
Yes, exactly. Charm my way in. But with math, there are instructions.
Right.
And read the instructions and do what is asked. So that was a very valuable thing. But in the moment, I was infuriated.
Okay, I really want to talk about that forever, but we cannot.
No.
We must move on.
Yes.
Let's wrap up to the final 2 questions that I ask everyone.
Okay.
The first being, do you think there is such a thing as someone being incapable of doing math, or innately not a math person?
I do, in that absolutely believe that people's brains are wired differently, and things that come easy to one person don't come easy to another person. So absolutely that's true, and that plays out in the psychometric testing. It isn't to say that people's brains aren't trainable, because we also know that. That's in the data. That's in the neuroplasticity that, scientists have been working on for decades. So if you would say, geez, my brain's not designed this way, it's very, very hard for me, I would think about what is the way that you can mitigate the weakness of that and do the work to get you to a point where it's not as pronounced a weakness, and then play the fuck out of your strengths.
Right.
Because I am never going to be an extraordinary math person, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to be extraordinary at something else.
And I guess, so many people really believe that you're born with either this aptitude or inaptitude for math, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh, no, I don't believe that. But I don't believe that in any area.
Right.
I think there are things that people are relatively good at, but you're training yourself. So what are you going to do to train yourself?
Yeah. It's just like running, right?
Yeah,
it's like you're not
running.
born being able to run a marathon. And sure, someone might be born with longer legs or muscular structure, whatever it is, but that doesn't mean that another person can't run a marathon with maybe a little harder work or different training.
Yeah.
Okay. My second question is, if you could pick one thing, what would you change about the way math is taught?
I would say that if I were king of the world and I were able to affect the curriculum, I would focus first on why this matters and help people understand why it matters. So first of all. Second of all, I also think there is a real risk in paying too much attention to people's concerns and not just saying, you have to do this, do this. So, and this, I think, as parents, we have to deal with this all the time.
Right.
Abby wants everything. She wants it all now. And my job is not to say yes. My job is to help her become an adult. And that includes math. So quit your whining and go and do it.
Right.
So how do we teach math? Yes, we need different ways to accommodate different learning styles. We need extra resources for people who need them. Absolutely all that. And stop your complaining and do the work.
I love it.
Stop your complaining and do the work.
Yeah. That's what the episode's called. For fucking sure. That's it. Okay, so now we're at the final frontier of the podcast where I, as your math therapist, am supposed to give you a prescription.
Okay, yes.
This is the first time I've been stumped. You just got it all so together, on the outside.
On the outside.
Okay, we're gonna have to think about it and come back to it, and then we'll pretend that I gave it to you.
Okay, I'm gonna give you something.
Okay.
I love that prescription. Okay, all right. I'll absolutely take that on. You got it. You have my word. Done.
Great. That's great.
That mystical thing.
Okay, well, Bruce, it's been a real treat. And a lot of other things. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for the invitation.
And we'll talk soon.
We will.
Bye. So guys, we did decide on a prescription for Bruce, and we had him do it right on the spot since Bruce, being the typical student, refused to do any homework. You can find the quick inspirational videos we recorded of Bruce and his amazing one-liners on our website, where we put all of our show notes. So just head over to themathguru.ca/maththerapy. Now, for more Bruce Sellery, because let's be honest, who doesn't want a little more of that? Make sure to grab one of his books on Amazon and subscribe to his podcast, Moolala, on your favorite podcasting app. Please remember to follow us on all social media at The Math Guru for more math therapy. That's where we'll be posting extra episode-related content every single week. And of course, just a reminder that Math Therapy is hosted by me, Vanessa Vicaria, produced by Sabina Wex, and edited by David Kochberg. And our theme song is Waves by Goodnight Sunrise, aka my band. And guys, if you know someone who needs math therapy or just needs to hear someone else getting math therapy, please, please, please share this podcast and write a quick review on iTunes. Those two things actually make such a big difference. I'm determined to change the culture surrounding math, and I need your help. So please spread the word. That's all for this week. Stay tuned for our next episode out next Thursday.